Do you have a strap? I got a chain. Okay. Well, we can hook it to the left side of that. You want to roll it out first? Maybe I should move the truck up.
I don't know.
You're not gonna get camera shy, are you?
Don't get my fat side.
All right.
All right. So this was probably, had to be in the mid 90s.
Okay.
94, 95 or something like that, give or take like that.
And how long have you had the Charger at that point?
So I bought it in September of '87. So probably had it.
You had it a while.
7, 8 years, something like that.
And you paid how much for that car?
Paid $700 for it, off of Fred Brown, right there off of Highway 74, cross street from the Fast Gas, right there where Highway 74 and 79 are at.
Okay.
So saw it there for a long time.
Nobody wanted it.
Well, it was back in '87, you know, it wasn't really that big of a deal. And I talked to the guy like 6 months earlier and said, hey, I'll give you $600 for it. He's like, no, I want 7. So then I went back later and I offered him 600 again. But he says, no, I want 7. So I gave him 700, yada, yada, yada.
You said he knows what he's like, I know
yeah,
what
exactly. He knows what he's got. So anyway.
And it was a 318 at this point?
It was red with the white vinyl top.
Okay.
Had a 318, air conditioning. The car was 100% stock. Had the factory rally wheels on it with the little caps and all that shit. It was 100% stock.
Okay.
Everything was there. Air conditioning.
Was it the rallies, like 70 and later rallies? Or the road wheels, like the 5-spoke?
It was like the 5-spoke.
Okay.
Yeah. But everything was there. It wasn't touched. The only problem was the headliner, because a bull, they rolled the window down, and a cow or a bull, whatever, got its horn in there and tore the headliner.
Oh, shit.
So, but yeah, so anyway, so we all decided to go down to Escondido to race, because Brian Ricketts and some other guys were racing down there for a long time. So me, Hank Youngsma, John Salisbury, and a few other friends, I think that was the only cars that went down with us, met these guys down in Balboa, and they said, hey, let's go down off the new 805 freeway there. So we all get down there, we're all sitting on top of the off-ramp, and I pick out this piece of shit like 70 Firebird. I can kick his ass. So we drive off the on-ramp, get on the freeway, the guy flags us, and we take off. And then I beat this guy.
You had the 440 in the car.
I had the 440, yeah, it was 40. It was yellow and black at that time.
Okay.
So, so we race, I beat him, but the next off-ramp was like 4 miles away. So you're doing 100 and something, then you slow down to like 60 and just cruise.
Yeah.
For like 4 or 5 miles. Get off the freeway, the next exit, come back around, get off the freeway, that exit, nobody's there. They're all gone. So I think there was, because I had 3 guys with me, Hank had like 3 or 4 guys, and John had a few guys with him. So I think Hank had 7 guys in his car.
Because you just made a pass.
I just made a pass.
It was just you and the Charger.
And the cop showed up. Yeah. So Hank in his 89 Mustang, John had a 67 fastback Mustang. So they take off. I finally meet up with them, and they go, hey, let's go down to this business complex, and we'll run down there. So we go down there, and a lot of these guys had come into Hemet before, and they recognized my car and recognized Hank's car. So, and these guys had a lot of the newer Mustangs at the time, and they were all built up. Yeah. But none of them had tires on it. Hank was the only guy that had a bone stock motor with nitrous, and he had the Sportsman eyes on it, and it freaking hooked up hard on the Sportsman eyes, and he kicked everyone's asses down there.
This is a Fox body Mustang, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
His was a convertible.
Okay.
So we run down there for a number of hours, so we're going down the complex, and at the end of the quarter mile, the road kind of dips down. This is like midnight, 1 o'clock. So the water's going on for the trees and all that shit, and the water's crossing the road. So as you're going down the road, and the quarter mile stops, then it drops down the dip, and then goes back up to the right. So you're doing 110, 100, something like that, diving through the water and all that shit. And then a few hours later, the cops show up and say, "You got to go home, but you got to get the hell out of here."
Yeah.
And so here it is, 4:30, 5 o'clock, something like that. And then we're all falling asleep trying to get back to Hemet like that.
Shit.
So, but that was the story there. That was good times back then. A lot of fun, not a lot of issues.
Yeah.
And the cars were running.
And nobody was on the road at nighttime, like when
Not
you
at
guys were
4
running,
o'clock in the morning, not in the early 90s. I mean, shoot, back then we probably had 100 million less people in the United States.
No shit.
So, but yeah, there's a lot of times like that. A lot of times out there.
When I was going, I mean, you guys were racing in Hemet. I never saw you out there, but I think my buddy Eric and I were going out there. I want to say it was like mid to late 90s, and we didn't go every weekend, so we probably missed you or whatever. But yeah, we'd meet at the flower shop, and then all of you fast guys would like tell everybody the race was over here, right? And then you guys would go in a different direction.
Because we tried to go out there and race, and there were so many people we couldn't get any races off.
Yeah.
A lot of times we'd go out there on Friday nights and run, and then go back to the flower shop.
Yeah.
Or they would go, we're tired, we're going home.
Yeah.
So we'd all take off in different directions and meet up.
Yeah.
Out there. We'd either go to where there was a Stowe Road off of Highway 79, Stowe, and then Warren Road, and then you go to Bridge Street, and then San Jacinto Avenue, the ski land out there in Paris.
Okay.
And then later on in the years, we over by the Salvation Army there, right next to the freeway.
Yeah, I never went out that far. I stopped going by then. You guys used to race by the orange trees.
Fairview.
Fairview.
Go out there too. We used to out there a lot.
Yeah, yeah. I remember. Let me put it on trickle charge.
Okay.
I want to blow up the battery.
Oh.
Yeah, I remember one time going. Well, a couple of times, and there was just so many freaking people out there. And you'd be like, these dumbasses would stand on the side of the road, even up in front of the cars.
Right.
And you're like, dude, if that car goes sideways, it's going to take your ass out.
We tried our best to never allow guys to actually be within 50 feet or so of the starting line.
Yeah.
And nobody be on the finish line. Even at the finish line, you're kind of on your honor system, who won and all that.
Right.
But we never had any accidents. We had a couple of times where, I won't mention anybody's names, but... One guy in a lifted 4x4 is backing up, ran over someone's car.
No way.
Yeah. And then another time, this guy had a big block Volkswagen Bug, and it started in gear. And just hilarious. But yeah, we were fortunate to never have any incident like the guys out there off of the raced out in Riverside and stuff like that. El Camino on the motorcycle and.
I didn't hear about those, but I know I heard about people pulling guns and shit like that out in Ontario.
Yeah, we went out there a few times off of the 60 and Etiwanda Avenue.
Yeah.
And we'd go out there, not with our cars. Paul Bauer and I, he had a 71 Challenger, small block, and it sounded like it run eights. It was nasty sounding.
Yeah.
We drove all the way up to City of Industry to Fullerton area. And the guys with a lot of those cars would hang out off Nogales Street and stuff like that.
Okay.
I went up there a few times, never raced anybody, but when Robert, Danny, a bunch of us, we went down to off Etiwanda in the 60 freeway, and those guys were 4 or 5 cars deep, wide as far as the lanes, and right next to the freeway. And if you're going down the 60 freeway just past Valley Boulevard, on the right hand side now, there's a forklift rental place that rents scaffolding and stuff like that. Well, that road really didn't parallel the freeway; it kind of parallel it to a diagonal.
Yeah.
So guys were starting right there doing burnouts. I mean, the freeway's 100 yards away.
And there's highway patrol all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
And but we stuck to our own places, Bridge Street and all that out there. And
I remember going out there, and there was It was a Coronet. I want to say it was a 64 or 5 Coronet. I can't remember the color, but I remember the guy having like it looked like a welding tank sitting between the seats, full of nitrous. It wasn't like a nitrous tank small, you know. It was freaking
like a acetylene bottle or something.
Yeah, it was like 4 feet long. Had that thing in there, and he's fucking, you know, turning it on. And I can't remember what he raced, but I was behind the car when he launched, and I was a decent distance away, but man, like just the little pebbles on the ground hitting you, it's like, fuck, man, you get hit pretty good. They're flying.
There was a guy back in the day. He came down out of Beaumont. His name is Del Dysart. He actually owns Dysart Automotive up in Beaumont, Banning area. But he had a 72 Chevy Lev with a small block in it and nitrous. I mean, and this thing had a camper shell on it. It was clean. It was freaking badass. But he came out there a few times and was racing everybody. He would beat the slowest guy and the fastest guy by a fender. Knew how to race, know how to run the bottle, never killed anybody, just beat them.
Yeah.
And that was his tow vehicle. It went like, I think, somewhere in 11s. But he had a 9-second big block Ford Chevy Lev.
Wow.
Yeah, and he used to tow that 11-second or however fast that Chevy Lev was. He used to use that to tow his other Chevy Lev down to Carlsbad and stuff. The thing went 9s. But this guy would come into town, he would beat everybody just by a little bit.
Oh,
you know. Yeah, when we started going out there, Brian Ricketts, Martin Richter, like Steve Christensen, all those guys had been out there before us. Those guys were pretty much done at that point. Brian Ricketts is the only guy that really has his car anymore that comes out every now and then. But it was a lot of fun, man. A lot of good times. Back when weren't worried about losing your driver's license and shit like that.
No.
When I stopped, the last guy I raced was Jeff Bremer. And the other guy, I forget the guy's name was Gary or something like that, had a Supra with a small block and it had a couple $100,000 of the Supra. But we were out there on Domagoni Parkway, and I raced him in the Supra that night.
I just met Jeff Bremer.
Oh, yeah. He was
at the drag strip, or at Muscle Cars at the Strip.
Yeah, that's the last time I raced that on Domagoni because...
And he was in the 70 Coronet?
Yeah, the 70 orange Coronet, yeah.
Yeah.
And the other guy had the white, it was like an 84 Toyota Supra.
Okay.
It's pretty fast, but he couldn't hook up for crap out there, and my car ran pretty good, but that was it for me. That was, you know, a commercial license and all that.
Yeah.
And then there was just... You couldn't tell on Domagoni Parkway where you raced just past State Street, Stetson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Stetson. But you don't know who's coming up behind you because there's a half a mile of distance between the next signal light. You take off out the running. I just got too sketchy.
Yeah.
So I just said, nah, I'm good. I'll just go to the track. Well, actually, a few years after that's when the car set for freaking 18 years.
Yeah.
So.
And then you were going to build the car for Pinks All Out, right?
So I was going to do that, the Pinks All Out in Arizona. And so...
and that would have been mid-2000s or...
Probably, maybe 8 or 9, 08, 09, because I was in the new house, and in the house in 2006.
Okay.
So 9 or 10, something like that.
Okay. Yeah,
so I pulled the motor out, sold it to Mike Coffey, which I shouldn't have done.
That fucker, Mike Coffey.
Fucking guy. And then I bought my 500-inch motor back off him that I sold him years ago, put it in the car, and not realizing now that if I just bought one of those the QA1 cross members, I would eliminate all the issues with everything.
Oh,
because it turned into a nightmare trying to cut the stock cross member and all that to get because the oil line coming off the pan and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then that kind of fizzed away, and then I changed my mind and sold Mike Coffey back the motor. Bought something else from him, and then years later, I don't know, we must have bought it back 3 or 4 different times. Now that's the motor that's in the.
That's like you and I with the silver
D100. Yeah. So that's where I'm at now.
Nice, but it's close. It's real close.
It's real close right now. I just talked about. I got to redo the wiring and just front tires and front alignment. Other than that, the rear end's all done for the second time.
Yeah.
All the tires and brakes and all that shit on there, and
back halved and
all the big dollar shit that I should have left like this. It's badass at one point. It ain't gonna be a driver like this. I mean, I can make it that way.
Yeah.
Just put smaller tires on it, but it's the way I wanted it to look. But I probably wouldn't do it again.
Yeah.
You know, because
Yeah, I always wanted a Pro Street Charger. I mean, that was my dream, and I would have. I mean, I always wanted when Ted was still here. I wanted Ted to put a cage in it,
Yeah.
and tie the frame together, and then back half it and stuff like that. That was like a plan, but I didn't make shit for money back then, and then he ended up bailing before that dream could have ever materialized.
I still have some receipts that Ted gave me from
Yeah.
1996. When the cage that's in the car now, the front hoop, because they cut it to do the back half.
Yeah.
But Ted Evans put that roll cage, and I had the toner rim on the car then. I did a bunch of stuff like that back in, I think, 96.
Yeah.
I remember you get all these receipts from J&M and stuff like that back in the day.
Yeah.
But they did all that. Should have just left it that way, but things
Yeah.
move on. But
Yeah, I'm not gonna I want to keep this car on the street. It's gonna stay. I mean, I'm gonna take it to the track, but I'm not gonna get crazy, stupid, and start like gotta go faster. Like if I feel the urge to go faster, I'm gonna do it in a different car.
Yeah.
I want to be able to jump in this thing and go down the road too. So.
see, that's where it kind of. Now I wish that I would have just built a Duster up to have 1432s under it, which I
Yeah.
still can, but it's not really necessary to give it to the track.
Yeah.
And then put some smaller tires on the Charger,
Yeah.
and be able to drive it a little bit more.
Right.
Because as low as that thing is, and the spool and the 3322s back there,
Yeah.
it's not your average daily driver to
No.
feel, so, which kind of sucks, but money can change all that.
Yeah. Well, it's easy. Win the lottery.
But see, that's what I'm saying, with the rear end being as wide as it is, I could actually put a different offset wheel back there and get a lot smaller tire under there. I could probably get a tire like that under, still not look bad, just got a different offset wheel.
Yeah.
Because you can go to 2.5-inch offset wheel and probably make up that difference of the gap and still look decent.
Mm-hmm.
It'd just be a deep, deep rim on that. The rear end's 45.5 inches wide.
You wouldn't just leave? I mean, is it because
I
it's
would-
so wide and it's a spool, it won't corner? Like you can't go around the corners or what?
My biggest fear of having a 22-inch wide tire, if I get 30 or 40 miles out, and the odds of having a tire blowout or something,
Yeah.
that's my thought. Probably would never happen, but sure as hell I don't want to drive it all to San
AAA's
Diego.
not going to have one laying around, or America's Tire.
No, and I don't know what kind of a jack you'd have to get that thing off the ground, because
Yeah.
it's already as low as it is now. You'd have to have 4 jacks of different heights just to
Right.
get the last one underneath the car to change it.
Right.
And then you couldn't change the tire because
Yeah.
you have to drop the rear end out of it to pull the tire off. So that's the other issue.
Yeah.
So that's why it's a close to home type deal.
Yeah.
So if that thing comes off, you got to block it up and then put it on a trailer and get it home.
Right. Right.
Yeah, because you literally have to pull the coilovers off and drop the rear end out the back,
Okay.
let it fold down
Right.
to get the tires off.
Yeah, that sucks.
That sucks bad. But that's all the things you learn later on after you do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, seeing like Freiberger and all those guys running his Cornet and all that stuff, and a 9x30 slick, and I went for the look. I like the look I got,
Yeah.
but it's not drivable.
Yeah.
Honestly, you can't run in Riverside or whatever, regardless of gas mileage or whatever.
Right.
It just, and the lower shit is, the worse it kind of rides to a point.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I know. The truck is like driving a brick.
Yeah.
Like, fuck.
But you can change everything with a lot of money, but
Absolutely.
I've already spent all the money I need to spend on the car,
Yeah.
plus a lot more.
Yeah.
So, but,
Cool. All right, I'll stop it there.
okay.
Dude, that was cool, man.